Kevin McCarthy is going to meet with Joe Biden to talk about a really big...
Put A1 up there.
Yeah, A1. Yeah. Put that up on the screen. And actually, so this is a headline from CNN where it says, Biden's message to McCarthy ahead of critical White House meeting, which is today, by the way, show me your plan. Why don't we actually hear those words from the man himself, President Joe Biden? Let's roll A2.
Mr. McCarthy, when he says he wants to negotiate, what do you tell? Show me your budget, I'll show you mine.
Mr. President, what is your message? What is your message to Leader McCarthy? To Speaker McCarthy, sorry, sir. What will be your message?
Show me your budget, I'll show you mine.
Show me your budget and I'll show you mine. Kevin McCarthy responded on Twitter to some of what was coming out of the Biden White House. We can put A3 up on the screen. He said, Mr. President, I received your staff's memo. Space. Enter. I'm not interested in political games. Space, enter. I'm coming to negotiate for the American people. A very short but very poignant piece of poetry. Looking at it on the screen, he did it in stanza form, which I think was...
Could have been a haiku if he worked on it a little more.
Right, he was almost there. Certainly a choice. Ryan, they're going back and forth. McCarthy said this Sunday, we're taking Medicare and Social Security off the table. And that was always going to be a non-starter for the Biden administration. I do, however, have a quote from Kevin McCarthy where he says, if you read our commitment to America, all we talk about is strengthening Medicare and Social Security. I know the president doesn't want to look at it, but we have to make sure we strengthen those. Seemingly in conflict, if you want to really do anything about the debt, there's not much you can do without tinkering with entitlement programs. So on that note, or with that in mind, they're kind of at an impasse.
Right, and we could pause this and ask the classic question here. Does everybody here know what people in Washington mean when they say we're going to strengthen Social Security? How do you make it stronger? It's one of the greatest lies that is like dropped on the heads of the American people.
I do technically think it's true that a solvent Social Security system would be a strengthened Social Security system, but that is mutually exclusive with cutting. When they say strengthen, they mean cut.
They mean cut.
Yeah.
They mean cut. And so in other words, think of it this way. If everybody's Social Security benefits were dropped down to $1, that would be the strongest program ever.
Right, because it's solvent.
Because it's so solvent. Because you're very comfortable that the trust fund is going to have the money in it, that it can pay that dollar every single month, and you have then strengthened the programs. What they're saying
semantics.
Right, and what they're saying is the fund runs out in a certain amount of time, and so in order to make it go longer, we're going to pay you less, and that strengthens Social Security. Most people, when they hear the word strengthen Social Security, they think, oh, I'm going to get a nice little extra COLA. Another $50 in my check. It's a stronger check.
It's bad. It is like just BS political language.
Right. And so for McCarthy to say we're taking Medicare and Social Security off the table, and we're just going back to what we said in our commitment to America, and then you go back and you read the commitment to America, and as you said, the commitment to America says strengthen Social Security and Medicare. So that's cut benefits for both, so that you can supposedly prolong kind of the actuarial and like the different tables will work out a little bit better for them.
Right, and one thing I think it just gets lost in this entire conversation because even Republicans now are talking about the Pentagon. Even I forget if it was Kevin McCarthy. There's a Republican who said, and many Republicans would agree with this, that maybe there are some cuts that need to happen to the Pentagon so that it's more efficient and effective and can pass, for instance, an audit like any business with that much money in it would have to. But the other point that I wanted to make is you could put up the next element there, which is
Manu talking about that.
Yep, exactly. So Manu Raju is reporting. He's saying that some have floated really stiff cuts, some Republicans, to domestic programs and to trim the defense budget. But Brian Riedel over at the Manhattan Institute has crunched the numbers on this, and it's truly astounding how many things you could cut without really making a dent in the national debt. So you could actually eliminate the entire Pentagon, and you still don't make a dent in the debt because those programs are overloaded with boomer benefits right now. They weren't designed particularly well. We haven't been managing them responsibly. But whether it's humane to, let's say, strengthen via cuts those programs, I mean, I think at this moment in time, absolutely not. The answer to that is absolutely not, unless you have some political imagination that we're not cued into yet that does this in a humane way. I think we can all agree solvent Social Security would be better, but there's literally no plan for that other than yanking benefits out from under people's feet.
Well, no, there's a plan. Raise the cap So currently,
Oh, sure.
you're capped on the amount of Social Security taxes and Medicare taxes that you paid. I think it's $116,000 or something like that. After that, you don't pay into Social Security anymore. And so what the left says is just get rid of the cap. You pay your Social Security and Medicare taxes on everything. What folks like Bernie are saying is, okay, we'll allow a grace from like 116, I think it's up to 250, he says. Others say up to 400. So you're not going to see an increase in your taxes if you're making between 116 and 250 or 400. But over 400, you would then continue to pay into Social Security and Medicare.
Yeah.
And boom, guess what? All of a sudden, those numbers start to add up, and you have strengthened programs.
Yes, the numbers start to add up until we have ballooning costs of healthcare that continue to create an insolvent program over time. And so, like,
Single payer can handle that. We'll get to that. Yeah.
unless they can come up with a way to do it. I mean, it's just such, this is like the crux of it. It's such BS where they're selling out people's lives for political purposes again and again, whether it's on the left or the right. It's like, well, we'll just keep doing X, Y, and Z without tackling this because we'll get booted out of Congress. Again, whether you're on the left or the right, we'll worry about it later. We'll worry about it later. Well, at some point, and you can make an argument right now that the inflation crisis is partially because in some part, maybe it's a small part, but in some part, the average American, their bank account is worse off because of the incredible amount of debt that we have. And maybe the solution is mint the coin. Maybe the solution is MMT. But the bottom line is that it's not a solvent program, but cuts are also absolutely not a humane thing on the table right now. Even Republicans know that. So they're going to end up passing a CR because that's the way that they can sort of get themselves through the summer, because you would likely default if you don't do anything on this around the summer.
And they'll raise the debt ceiling, you think, without a fight?
I think
actually,
they'll go
if you
over.
could put that Manu Raju tweet back up again. What Manu says in there, he says, but there are R's who are no votes no matter what. And I think that's what you were sort of implying there. He can only lose like 2 or 3 votes, depending on what's going on.
He's in a bind.
Is Santos still going to be in office by then? We'll see.
Well, and here's Thomas Massey. He said, one idea, according to CNN, he has been advocating for is passing a CR, quote, as soon as possible that funds the government at 99% of its current levels and pairs it with a debt ceiling increase just so that they have a backup plan in case they're unable to come to an agreement on the debt ceiling or funding the government. One reason that's important is because I think they're just going to end up going back and forth, ticky-tacky over discretionary spending. That will be the inch that Biden gives, and it'll be the inch, McCarthy gets, is that you get some cuts to some woke program, a program McCarthy can say is woke here and there, and Biden will give on that, and they'll do their CR, and that's how they'll avoid everything.
We'll see, and we teased the McConnell one. We can put A5 back up.
Right.
If people got an early look at that. It's fascinating to watch the Senate just be like, my name's Paul, this is between y'all. Like, you guys just work this out and let us know when you get to something. If you remember last time. Yes. If you remember last time, McConnell allowed, for the first time, and he said this will be the only time, and nobody believed it was going to be the only time, a 50-vote threshold to get the debt ceiling through. So in other words, there was Republican cooperation, but it didn't show up on the Senate floor, which is all they want. And McConnell has consistently said, there is not going to be a debt ceiling crisis. We're going to raise the debt limit. Every time he says that, it undercuts McCarthy a little bit.
Yeah.
But then he says, I'm deferring to Kevin over there. Like, good luck, Kevin, but we're not going to have a debt ceiling crisis.
Right. So they're both in incredibly tight spots. Republicans are in incredibly tight spots on this. And the Biden administration, politically at least, is in a great position. I mean, it's hard for them to lose on these negotiations because a default looks bad for Republicans. Inching closer to a debt crisis looks bad for Republicans. I think a lot of people, there are some people, and this was a huge part of the Tea Party movement, for instance, back in the day, that really wanted to see strengthening of Social Security and Medicare because people are worried about what their kids end up getting out of it. And I get that. I think that is very real, but it's a much harder sell, and it works much less effectively on a political level than protecting those programs. And even Donald Trump knows that. J.D. Vance knows that because they've both come out in support of getting the hell off the table before Democrats use it to tank the Republican Party and before Republicans use it to pull the rug out from under average Americans.
The way to keep those programs solvent, though, is to keep the economy strong.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.